Hello, dog lovers. We are live, and I'm just adjusting the camera. So, thank you for being here, and welcome to the live broadcast of Saro Dog Training. Hope you are all doing well and everything is going well with your dog. And if you need help with dog training and you want to become an educated dog lover, you are at the right place. You're at Saro's Dog Training YouTube page, and we are live. And this live video is brought to you by and sponsored by my own dog training course, online dog training course, where I teach you how to train your dog using play and praise reward system without the use of treats, force, domination, aversive tools, and we use play and praise reward system to train dogs. If you want to learn more about this course and or if you want to register, I have the link in the description below. You can go ahead and click on it and get all the information as well online. And I'm going to share the link for this course as well in here on the chat line as well. So I want to also remind you that you can ask your dog training or dog related questions. Any questions that you have, you can go ahead and ask me, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. I'm watching a different screen as well. I have two screens going on, and there it is. So here's the link for online course if you want to learn more and or register. Today I want to focus mainly on answering your dog related questions. I've got lots of questions coming on my community page in general, and also I get a lot of questions by email, privately, and from other sources as well. So one of the main questions that I always get is, how do I stop my dog from barking at other dogs? And my dog just barks at everything. Every time my dog sees something, it starts barking. So I wanted to first of all answer this question because I get this too often, and I've made few videos about it too, but I'm going to answer this question first and then we get started. By the way, if you have any questions, leave those questions in the chat area and I'll answer them. And hopefully today we're not going to have any issues with internet and things like that. Last week I tried, was it last week? Yeah, last time I went live, it didn't work fine for me, and it just I had to cut it down. So today I'm having a good reception actually, and the connection is pretty good. So it looks like it's going well. How do you stop a dog from barking at other dogs? So one of the main reasons I want you to understand is dogs always do things for a reason. They don't do it just because. There is a reason why they're doing it. And when a dog is barking at other dogs or anything that is happening, there is a reason for it. I would say the main reason is because they are anxious. Something is bothering them, something is causing them to have that stress related connection. Something is stressing them. Something is making your dog to become a little bit stressed, so it's reacting to it. So it's basically a form of reaction. Your dog is reacting to something. So it could be because of other dogs, could be because of the other dog's energy, could be because they are scared of other dogs. There could be many reasons why a dog is being anxious. But when your dog is barking, let's say at the park to other dogs, that mainly is because your dog is kind of, let me just fix this. that could be because your dog. All right, I'm running a doggy daycare as well too. So you may hear some dogs in the background, but I'm in my office. Hopefully, it's soundproof, and I have staff and everybody going back and forth, and they're taking care of the dogs and looking after dogs. I'm in my office. Hopefully, I'll have some privacy here, and I'll get to have some quiet time to talk to you guys. So the main reason that you want to understand is, main reason that I want you to understand is that your dog is anxious. That's the reason why your dog is barking. So why is it that your dog is anxious? Could be many reasons. But the main reason I would say why a dog is anxious is because unfortunately you are allowing that dog to do its own thing. I'm not saying that you have to completely control and you know, overpower your dog and create a dictatorship over your dog, but this is a signal and it's a sign that your dog is kind of telling you that I don't feel comfortable about this, I don't feel relaxed, I get anxious when I see this or I feel this. So it tells you that they need your help. So you need to help your dog. So the way you're going to help your dog is give cues to your dog, tell your dog what to do and what not to do. So if you tell your dogs what to do and what not to do, then your dog is going to have a easier time to relax and focus on the real thing. So I want you to understand also that your dog needs to start focusing on you rather than focusing on what is happening in front of them. And that is a hard thing to do. And the only way that you can get that, the only way that you can get your dog to focus on you rather than anything else is by working with your dog, teaching your dog, on daily basis, so your dog starts learning that I can get cues from my handler, my owner, rather than getting cues or do things on my own. Because in general, dogs in our society, they get a little bit overwhelmed with everything that is going on, right? Streets, cars, bikes going on, all these things can be overwhelming for dogs. So when they get overwhelmed, they react to them. So everything else can also pile up on top of everything else and help them to become a little bit more anxious. So therefore they react. So they need our help to tell them, okay, relax, this is okay, this is safe, this is not going to hurt you, that's not going to bother you, hey, don't focus on that. So you need to communicate these things to your dog. And the only way that you can do that is by training your dog and working with your dog every day. So your dog has a way of connecting with you. And if it connects with you, then it's going to start getting cues from you. And once it starts getting cues from you, it's going to say, okay, that doesn't bother me anymore. That doesn't bother me anymore. How about that one? And you're going to say, no, that's okay too. So if you have that conversation, that communication, then you're going to be able to stop your dog from, reacting in general. So I have a question from Anchor89 is asking, hello, my dog is very reactive to other dogs and goes crazy barking at them through the fence. But today a stray entered our yard while he was on leash and he wouldn't approach the little dog at all. So that means he's fearful of strange dogs and not really aggressive then. Yes, that's a very actually Anchor 89. Yeah, that is actually very common situation. You will see that a dog, for example, who's on leash can behave differently when they are off leash, or a dog who's behind the fence will behave differently when they are facing the whatever they're afraid of or whatever they're reacting to. So that's a sign that your dog was giving you a signal that that thing is bothering me, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to solve this problem. So once the dog is in front of them, um, that fence, the fence is removed, then your dog says, okay, now I have to deal with this. So if they're lacking social skills, they will behave differently. If they are scared, they will behave differently. If they are aggressive, they will behave differently. So it all depends on how your dog is going to solve that problem. So in this case, your dog decided to say, you know what, it's not that I'm afraid of this dog. It's just that I don't know what to do. This dog came in, and I'm not. I don't know what to do. So when your dog is, yes, so there it is. So he just hid behind you. So exactly. So that's what I was just saying. Most dogs, and yeah, and he's bigger than the stray guy. Yeah. So most of the time, dogs, they want to get cues from us, so they come to us for cues to see what should we do. So when you let your dog, for example, in the yard, and there's a fence, and people and dogs are passing by, and your dog is reacting, that's not a sign of a dog who's aggressive. That's a sign of a dog who's bored. There's a big difference. Many people, they think that their dog is aggressive when they are barking or lunging or doing things like that. You have to understand that activity that is happening behind the fence, in front of the fence, is an activity, and it's an entertainment for your dog. So your dog becomes entertained by that activity. And when there was no activity in front of it, out of boredom, there was this activity happening, and it was barking, and it was reacting. It was just telling you that I need more mental and physical activity. So what you have to do is read that and understand that, first of all, your dog needs more physical and mental activity, so it gets stimulated. You can't just leave it in the yard, because it will start creating its own games and activities, and it'll come up with ways to entertain itself. So it was kind of entertaining. It was doing those stuff, and it was playing that game. But you have to understand that, okay, first of all, I have to come up with different ways of physically and mentally stimulate my dog. So if you need help about how to stimulate your dog, let me see if I can get you a video that you can watch, and use these activities to stimulate your dog actually a little bit more, rather than leaving it in the yard. So watch this video. Watch this video for creating healthy stimulation. So most of the dogs that I work with, they actually have some form of issue, where dog owners, they say, okay, my dog is doing this is because of that. But most of the time they read it the wrong way, and you want to first of all figure out exactly why that is happening. So fence fighting is not usually, or being aggressive behind the fence is not usually aggression towards other dogs or people. It's just an activity out of boredom that dogs do and create. So the other thing is that, for example, in your case, Ant Girl 89, your dog came and hid behind you. So your dog didn't know how to solve this problem. There's a strange dog in our yard. How do I solve this? So came to get cues from you. So first of all, kudos to your dog that made that choice to come and get cues from you. And second of all, again, that's a cue that you need to work on your dog so your dog can start figuring out how to solve problems. So, I mean, I'm glad that your dog didn't get attacked or didn't attack the other dog, but it's a signal that you need to see and feel that you need to work on your dog as well. So your dog is telling you, I don't know, first of all, how to solve this problem. What do I do? You need to come up with some solutions, some ways to teach your dog what to do in cases like that. And you're saying worse, it got worse since my older dog died. Well, in what case got worse? Your dog, had another buddy probably, and it was relying on that dog, and now that dog is gone, and you have to replace or fulfill that empty space. So probably your dog is depending on somebody, and I hope it's you at this moment that he's alone. And work and train your dog, and engage with your dog so your dog is more connected to you and can come and you can give cues to your dog. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, it's most of the questions that I get is basically dogs are acting weird. I've hired a trainer, but I always look for more info. So thank you so much. Yes, you're welcome. That's a good idea. You can always hire a trainer and work with them rather than in a group setting. Start with a private trainer and get some clues. Make sure that the trainer that you're selecting is not one of those trainers, so-called balance trainers. Balance trainers usually they use aversive forms or tools to train dogs. Make sure that you're selecting a dog trainer who's there aren't many dog trainers who don't use treats. I'm one of those few ones. There are few other dog trainers who don't use treats to train dogs. So make sure that you're not overusing treats. If the trainer is also using a lot of treats, be a little bit cautious. That's a signal that they don't really know what they're supposed to do. If they're depending on treats, you want to make sure that they come up with solutions that actually make sense to you. So maybe something like a trainer who's more focused on fun forms of training dogs, which is very hard to find. So if you need more help, actually, check out my channel's videos. I have tons of videos there that you can watch and learn how to work with your dog. Yes, that's one of the things. Yes. Yes, you're saying you're supposed to phase out from treats as soon as he learns new behaviors. Yes, that's very hard for many dog owners to do. They have a hard time phasing out the treats. I would say here's I'll give you an idea. I would say stick with maximum a week of using treats. If you have to use treats, which I don't recommend using treats. If your trainer suggests to use treats, maybe you take that information and instead of using treats, use toys or praise or play, and replace it with treats first of all. So you don't have to really use treats, right? Or if you have to use treats, maybe just use it for the first week. After that, your dog should be in tune with you and should be working with you, so you don't have to use treats again and again. Even if your trainer forces you and pushes you to use treats, don't worry, just do your own part, and it will be fine. I have one question on from the community center, and the question is: my Doberman is so calm when I have him on lead, but runs wild when I remove it. He jumps on other people and runs away when I try to approach him. How do I set him straight? I just want a balanced dog. So your Earl Tenaja is asking this question. Earl, I want to answer this question because this is very a common question that I get. Also, so when you have your dog on a leash and you off leash your dog and your dog runs off and takes off, that's a sign that your dog is not ready to be off leashed yet. So you have to work on leash skills first, and you also have to work on providing more mental and physical stimulation, so also can learn how to be relaxed. Because when you off leash a dog and a dog takes off and goes somewhere else, that means that it's not mentally and physically stimulated enough, that it's looking for an opportunity to get off the leash. So what you want to do is you want to start training it more on a leash. I always suggest to work on your dog on a leash for a year. You need a year to work on your dog on a leash, to be leash trained, and then off leash trained as well, because once you start leash training your dog is going to be more reliable. So as soon as you off leash the dog says, you know what, I don't have to run over there, I'm just going to hang out here because I'm more comfortable being with you. So if you're off leashing your dog and your dog takes off, it's a sign that your dog is not ready to be off leashed. So you want to make sure that you read these signals and signs, and don't off leash your dog. So work on more on leash training, work on more overall training of your dog for a year before you off leash your dog. And we have a live question from Bunny Hop saying, hi, I have a 2-year-old beagle. Is it possible to train him to completely off leash, or is he too old? Oh, I was just talking about that. A 2-year-old is not old to be trained in any ways. You know, any age you can train a dog. At any age you can start training your dog. It just takes longer as once you start training your dog. A beagle, you know, based on my experiences, it takes about a year to have a dog who's a beagle who's completely reliable off leash. I have a video that I can share with you that you can watch. I actually talk about how to train a beagle off leash for training beagle off leash. Watch this. So you can watch this video, and this is the video that I talk about how to train a beagle off leash. It takes a year because beagles are designed and bred to find the prey, right? They're not hunters. They're just they are designed and bred to find the prey. So what that means is they smell, they sniff everything, they sniff the path that the prey has gone. So they're focused on the smell. So the smell can overpower everything else. Their hearing, their eyesight, they won't hear you, they won't see you, they won't know exactly what's going on around. They just focus on the scent. So once they focus on the scent, you lose it. There's no way that you can get them back because they are focused on smell, scent, and they're just going for it. That's the breed, you know, that's what they are bred for. Most scent dogs are bred for that purpose, and that's what they want, what we want them to do. But the only way that you can undo that instinct and control that is by, first of all, not letting your dog to smell, to sniff. And that is very hard to do. And one of the things that I suggest you to do is teach your beagle or any scent breed the heel command. Heel command teaches the dog to have its head up and walk beside you rather than putting its head down and sniffing around. You can let your beagle to sniff as much as it wants, but also you have to teach your beagle to heel as well. So the heel keeps the dog head up, so the beagle learns that, okay, I'm gonna have to keep my head up and keep an eye on my handler. So once you teach that, the beagle starts walking with the head up. So in a way, you're controlling and managing the, scent job, the sniffing around. So you're physically actually controlling that. And second of all, if you work on the leash manners and controlling the beagle or your dog on a leash, will help you to have a good control over your beagle as well. And if you keep it on on leash for a year and not to get tempted to off leash your beagle for a year, your beagle automatically is going to learn that this area where I am around my handler, my owner, is the best place to be. So if your beagle stays there for a year, after you off leash your beagle after a year, that's the bubble that your beagle is going to stay. Hope that makes sense. Does it make sense? So that's the bubble that you want to create for your dog or your beagle to stay and not take off. So it takes a little time. I give a year, I say a year, because it takes a year almost for a dog to understand this concept. So especially a beagle who's very scent driven, yes, you need a year of complete control. You want to make sure that you're completely controlling every move, every trigger that your beagle is getting. For example, if you see that it's focused on sniffing something, you gotta tell him or her, rover, heel. And as soon as you give that heel command, you want that head to come up. And let me see if I can also share with you the video that I suggest you to teach, which is the heel command. You can also teach this heel command to your dog. Let's see if I can get that video. By the way, if you want to, I have over 200 videos in my channel, and if you need any help with any issue that you have with your dog, just do a search on the on top of my channel's page. You will see a search icon. If you just search any topic that you want, it will give you a video that is the answer to your question. So if you need any help, actually, you can always check out my channel. Jamie R is in the house, and Bunny Hop, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, it takes a long time, but it's doable and it's possible. Jamie R is saying, I have a year-old English bulldog that licks obsessively. He tries to lick my ankles, the couch, the wall, etc. How can I get him to stop? The reason a dog, again, there's always a reason why a dog would lick, it will do something. In this case, I would say there are a few reasons that dogs do that, and bulldogs, I've also noticed that bulldogs, they do that often. They lick things. And I think most of the time it's mental and sometimes is internal. So let me explain what I mean. So internal, let's start with internal. The internal, it could be that your dog is lacking some form of fiber in its diet. So you want to provide some form of fiber, like vegetables, green leafy vegetables. If you could provide for your dog, would be great. That will help your dog's internal system, the stomach, and the digestion to be working better. That's one of the reasons why most dogs, including bulldogs, they lick things. I've seen dogs licking floors, licking things. They're lacking fiber and they're trying to get fiber from whatever they can. And fiber is a very important part of diet in general. So you want to make sure that the food that you're feeding your dog has some form of fiber. And if it doesn't, if it's usually you're feeding your dog kibble or dry food, usually you want to add some form of green leafy vegetable raw to your dog's meal. That will help. That's internally. That's helping your dog to solve this issue internally. The external wise, the mental wise would be the reason, could be because of, again, boredom. Your dog is lacking some form of physical mental stimulation, so your bulldog is trying to tell you, and what you need to do is, next time that you see that your dog is starting to lick something, what I want you to do is say, Robert, all right, put the leash on and take it for a walk. Take it for a walk, see if that behavior stops. Take it for a walk, see if it continues even during the walk, licking still. If it's still licking during the walk, that could be a sign of the problem is internal. And if you see that your bulldog is not licking anything during the walk and is focused on the walk and is not licking anything, that's a sign that you need to provide additional form of mental and physical stimulation for your dog. So it has to do something with physical and mental points. So I hope that makes sense. Jamie R is saying, I had no idea, thanks. Yes, you're welcome. He won't eat leafy greens, but he will eat green beans. I feed him mostly raw. I will try walks too. Thanks so much. Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, try the walks, and if he's not he's not a fan of leafy greens, but he likes green beans, I would say, try to, if you're gonna give green leaf, I'm glad that you're feeding raw diet. That is great. That is awesome. If you could puree or juice the veggies and then pour it in the food, that would make it easier for him to eat and also digest. Do you add any veggies in your dog's raw diet, Jamie? Let me know. If you puree it or juice it a little bit or just blend it a little bit so it's easier for them to take it in, that would make it easier to eat actually. Not really. So yeah, just add that. So I would suggest if you're feeding raw diet, I want you to focus on 75% meat and 25% green leafy vegetables. Think of that. That is more balanced, much more healthier form of feeding raw diet actually. That's what I do. I feed 75% meat and 25% green leafy veggies, which is juiced or pureed, or I just blend it a little bit. It becomes softer and much easier to add it to my dog's food. What I can do, let me see if I can share the video that I do show how to feed. So here's what I feed my dog, and you can get some ideas and maybe try to add some green leafy vegetables. So that could be the problem actually, is lacking fiber, and also the walk. Yeah, I hope that those two solutions can help you. And let me know, actually, I would be very interested to know if you could try it for a week or so, these two concepts, walking and changing adding the green leafy vegetables to your dog's diet, and try it for a week and let me know. And if you could come back to this video and leave your feedback on the comments area, I would be very interested to know the results, which one was the problem, because I get this issue very often with dogs, not only bulldogs but many dogs. They tend to lick a lot, and it's not that they're bored or anything, but they do tend to lack some form of fiber. I hope that also helps you. Okay, let's go to the next question. Hold on, just give me a second. And the question is from and we have another question there too. So the question is, Konak Raj is asking, my Beagle puppy pulls a lot on leash. He wants to lead all the way. So if a dog is pulling a lot on leash, it's a sign that they lacking mental and physical stimulation. So if you want to solve one quick tip that I can give you is, if your dog is one of those dogs who's pulling on the leash when you go for a walk, I want you to do this. 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you go for a walk with your dog, play with your dog inside of the house, with its toy and whatever games that you usually play with your dog. Play 5-10 minutes to bring that energy level down, and then try going for a walk and see if the pulling it reduces or not. If you do that, you will be having a better chance of not being pulled. So play or exercise your dog 5 to 10 minutes before going for a walk. That's a good way of actually solving that problem. And AntGirl89 is saying, are you completely self-taught, or did you apprentice under another dog trainer when you were starting out? What do you recommend for someone interested in doing training part-time? Sorry, I'm asking too many questions. No worries, I don't mind. I love questions. Any question is a good question. Yes, let me tell you a little bit about me. Yeah, so I started working in a doggy daycare, and I started connecting with dogs. The doggy daycare that I run at the moment, I started connecting with dogs. This was I don't know, 16 years ago or something. So I started connecting with dogs, and I started being interested in learning behavior, and I would also see that many of the dogs had behavioral issues. So I wanted to help them to deal with behavioral issues that they had. And also I had a beagle myself that wasn't interested in foods. For a beagle not to be interested in foods or treats, it was very unique and very interesting and very challenging. So I had a hard time training my beagle using conventional training system, which was using treats, right? So because I would take him to the classroom and everybody was using treats, and everybody was every dog was interested in treats except mine, who was a beagle, didn't care about treats, wanted to play and have a good time. So ring bells, light bulbs went on. Oh, how come my dog is not interested in food and treats? Is there something wrong with my dog? But it was actually, that was a sign for me to find my path. So I started being interested in learning about dogs and dog training in general, and working at the dog daycare, working with dogs, it kind of came together in a way that I had to find out how do I train my beagle, or how do I train my dog without treats, and how do I train my dog in general. So I started researching, and I started educating myself, reading all kinds of dog trainers, including Cesar Milan, including Dr. In Dunbar, Victoria Stilwell, all of these dog trainers. I started educating myself. I started learning from them, but all of them were using either treats or food or some form of, aversive tools or domination. Cesar Milan was very popular with domination. Um, all of these people, the trainers, they were using some form of manipulation. I call it manipulation because treats also, when you're using treats, you're manipulating the dog to do something for you for the treats. But my dog, my beagle, was interested in play and praise. He was happy to interact with me. So I found a trainer who was teaching dogs same concept of using without the treats or food. So I registered and I went to school for a year, and I worked with this trainer. I learned, I got a lot of ideas from the school, and also from whatever I had learned, I implemented everything that I had learned in the school and what I had learned overall from everywhere else, and I created my method, which is dog training using play and praise reward system. So that's how I get started, and I wouldn't say it's self-taught, but it's mostly self-taught. And I do recommend, if you want to become a dog trainer, you have to think of it as a business. It's not a hobby. You have to think of it as a business. The first way of an approach of anything that you're doing, especially including and also including dog training, you have to think of it as a business. You have to be able to run a business in order to be able to run a dog training business. You have to be a people person as well. You have to love people, and also obviously dogs as well, but you have to love people, because the dog owners are the ones who have the problems with their dogs, and you want to help them. Just like me now, I'm helping people, I'm helping you, but meanwhile their dog gets also help as well. So you're mainly focused on business, running a business with people, and to learn to become a dog trainer, you have to learn a lot of things. You have to understand. It's very simple. For example, I'm writing a book now, and the first part of this book, I'm going to reveal it to you guys, is to train a dog. It takes no time. To teach a dog, to train a dog, it takes no time. It takes a little time. But to train a human, it takes a thick book like that. You have to explain so much to a human being in order to understand what it's supposed to do and what it's not supposed to do. Wherein as a dog, you just tell it, don't do this and don't do that, and do this and do that. They get it. So you have to understand that you have to have a lot of information, a lot of ideas in your head in order to be a good dog trainer. And I think I have created a lot of information. I've learned a lot of information. I've created this center of information dome in my head that I am sharing it now on my channel with dog owners, because there's so much information here that I can't hold it anymore. So that's why I've created this YouTube channel, where it gives me an opportunity, it gives me an avenue to share this information with dog owners and dog lovers. And my motto is helping dog owners to become educated dog lovers, because everybody is a dog lover. There are many people who are dog lovers. There are some people who don't like dogs, but there are many people who love dogs. And loving dogs is not enough. You have to be an educated dog lover in order to have a good dog. So my goal is to help you to become an educated dog lover so you have a good dog. And if you have a good dog, you're going to be a good person too. If you are a good person, you will treat your dog well as well. So that's my motto. So thank you, and I appreciate actually Elina for asking this question. I'm glad that I was able to share this with all my dog lovers. And hopefully you enjoyed the answer as well. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to ask me. I'm here to help you with all your dog-related problems and questions that you have. And I'll be here every 2 weeks to answer your questions live. And so I'll see you in 2 weeks. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, leave those questions in the comments area and I'll answer them right away. And if you want to become an educated dog lover, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to join my online dog training course, I have the link below in the description as well. You can join the online course as well and become an educated dog lover. Hope you enjoyed this live session. If you have any questions, don't forget to ask me those questions. And until next time, have fun with your dogs.